Hi, my name is Dewan Hutchinson. Welcome to my channel. I wanted to share with you guys my latest project. I'm a 3D artist based out of Toronto, Canada, and I really just enjoy modeling, as you can see. After doing my last project, I really tried to simmer off, but as an artist does, they get hit by inspiration sometimes, and so with that, I wanted to take you along.
Hella random, but maybe idea. Spider Vespa with a wagon on the back. Think about it. It's cooking.
So from the first day to day 15, we've been modeling and unwrapping the Vespa, but now that we're done that, we're now moving on to the surfacing and texturing. So look forward to it. Before we get started though, y'all should check out my shop, especially if you are a 3D artist of the like. I have some of my FBXs out there that you could download with the little support a creator. Yeah, you get the idea. There's a few of my assets here that you guys can check out and more to come, so keep an eye out for that. Support your boy. Now back on track, let's get started with the surfacing. So starting out, before anything, I want to thank my friends and fellow artists Mael and Diana for giving me some concepts when it comes to colorways to go off of. Without them, I really would be taking a lot more time and trying to figure out a vision when it comes to the materials, the colors, and how they should really combine together. I do think that even though I enjoy and had an idea in my head, collaborating with some friends and really seeing how they can inspire and improve what I've already got going, how that would unfold, really was what I wanted to do for this, to really unlock the potentials on the surfacing end of things. The main one you see me taking inspiration from here in PureRef is Diana's work, where she directly took more inspiration from Spider-Man, and that's that red and blue color scheme we got going on there with a tertiary, more cyan to it, which I personally did love. So I tried to translate that over to a few of the other aspects and minor details in the project. One of the main things that I really like about this project and that I wanted to develop on versus the last few projects that have surfaced is utilizing anchor points. So basically what that is, without going too in depth, is taking information from one layer of the project and copying it over to another, and it's a live feed. So if I was to make a change on the lower level, it would reflect on all the other levels it's sourcing from. The way I decided I was going to use this was first for more smaller details, but mainly so that I can control the main primary, secondary, and tertiary colors that I'm using, so I can actively change them throughout the project. You might not see it much now, but keep an eye out. You're gonna see me not just do the red and blue, but multiple other colors. And using those anchor points, it was a lot easier to switch through those colors to have different aesthetics. So utilizing the anchor points, one of the main things you're gonna see me do throughout is link them to the colors of a lot of the assets that I have throughout, and using a hue shifting modifier to really get the alternative colors that I want. My train of thought while doing this was whenever I'm changing any of the primary, secondary, and tertiary colors, if there's any other assets that aren't primarily that color, it will still shift over the hue to be a complementary color of whatever else is there. So in the future, if I was to, let's say, get 2 to 3 different random colors that somebody wants me to have the Vespa be, or I want it to be, I can just put in those colors, and any asset that isn't necessarily that color will still be shifted to a color that works with that style. I do find that's the coolest thing that I did with this project file, and I'm not going to stop bragging about it. So thank you for listening. So one of the main things you see me do when adding a level of detail with my models is add a good amount of grunge to any piece and then slowly take it away. The reason I do this is because I like to have my pieces start really ruggedy and rough, like it has been aged 100 gajillion years, and then bring it back closer to what I deem it as the level of use that I want it to be for presentation. So I take away a lot of the grunge in this case because I want the Vespa to be like it's maybe a month out of being used. I don't want it to be anything too crazy. So there's just a small level of variance in roughness, height, and things like that. So, a brief intermission to again remind you guys about my FBX shop, where you can see a few of my latest assets that I have up for grabs on my Gumroad. That would include my one-wheel tank, my hover car, and my latest project, the Retro Type S car. All three of those ones, I implore any 3D artist that's trying to improve their demo reel or have a personal project that any of these might suit, check it out, see what you can do, and tag me in anything if you do. So at this point, one of the main things that I had done to really hasten my process with the texturing was I set up an anchor point between the primary color and the mask for that, and the secondary color and the mask for that. They're linked by the anchor point and then filtered through an inverted mask so that they're the exact opposite of each other. The reason I'm doing this is so that any changes you see me making to the primary paint job reflects in the opposite location in the secondary paint job. This really just helps me not have to go back and forth between the two masks and do any additional changes or fixes that would occur if I did not do that. So right here you see me fiddling around again with the interior of the carriage. To this day, it's still something that I think could be improved on if I was to take a step back and really just redo the interior, but I'm not gonna do that. So I do think the design that I came up with at the end of the day is something that I can settle with and do like. But I always think when you come to critiquing any piece of art, there's something that you as the artist see that you could have done better, changed, or just redo. But there's a point where I just had to put down the pen. And after fiddling with this for a good amount of time to get something that I thought was really appealing at the end of the day, I threw that pen away. For each pair of legs, I wanted each one of them to have a different unique design to them. I didn't really have an idea from any of my mock-ups what that would be, so I thought it would really just be an opportunity for me to add a little bit of creativity. Nothing crazy, no Mona Lisa, no Starry Nights, but just something to really make each leg unique and spontaneous. Even for me, because again, I did not plan any certain design. I just went with the flow. I hope that between me and you, they look good. If you told me they didn't, I wouldn't believe you. You're lying, because it looks amazing. Look at it. Look at it. But each one, you see me developing a bit more, trying to figure out what would look good. Some of them are me just using the new pen tool, which I've been falling in love with, while others is a mix of that and me filling out masks using the paint tool. All of it, I think, really concluded to add a level of uniquity, a little added je ne sais quoi to the legs and not make it too basic and bland. So in Substance Painter, the texturing software that I'm using, there is a in-house rendering engine that I believe is V-Ray. I might be wrong. I'm not gonna double check that. But I'm utilizing it right now during the later end of my modeling to double check that a lot of the assets that I'm modeling have the right roughness, metalness, normal information put towards it, and to really just slightly adjust them towards how I was envisioning them. You'd want to practice doing this at the end in my eyes, because working in the regular shading view isn't how it's going to fully turn out in a beauty render such as in Arnold, which is what I use personally, or any other rendering engine. So to bounce back and forth closer to the end really was something that I wanted to do and keep an eye on things. Coming closer to the end of the texturing process, I wanted to take a more heavy-handed brush to add some roughness and grunge to the model, something that's going to be a lot more intentional in the way I do it, because I wanted to have the carriage be like it's been a little bit more roughed and worn, but I think that with the subtle amount that I did add, it just adds a nice touch if the sun or the lighting was to hit it a certain way. Alongside that, to really add a final touch, I added a little paint job with a few icons that I personally like. So that includes some designs by me, some artists that I find interesting, and things like that, alongside tagging my own name on it. Of course, you gotta know who it's from. But outside of that, where you're gonna see me do the rest of the surfacing video is just apply a few different colors to the Vespa and make a few different colorways. So, a brief intermission to again remind you guys about my FBX shop, where you can see a few of my latest assets that I have up for grabs on my Gumroad. That would include my one-wheel tank, my hover car, and my latest project, the Retro Type S car. All three of those ones, I implore any 3D artist that's trying to improve their demo reel or have a personal project that any of these might suit, check it out, see what you can do, and tag me in anything if you do. Now with all the texturing done, I'm sure you guys are interested in seeing some final beauty renders of the VeSpa-ider. So here you are. I'd like to thank anybody that made it to the end of the video. Please like, comment, share, subscribe to see what I have going on next. It was really fun doing the surfacing for the project. It really is the main part that really brings everything into a different stage of development, one that it really is showing not just me in my mind, but you guys as the viewers, the idea I had envisioned. So I really do hope you like what you see, and moving forward I'm going to be doing the final renders and some rigging, so you might even be able to see a little 1-2 step from the Vespa. Look forward to that. We'll see what I get up to.